light work. It's light work, though. Watch how I do this. Rain, sleet, snow, danky O's. Ringside 3, go ahead, thank me though. Me and Third got the streak so far 3-0. Don't know when I'ma stop, Kush God speed, Joe. I'm Bad News Brown / D-Lo. Special delivery, SD Jones. Andre when the ref cheated Holmes. Fuck from me, better leave me alone. Stay up in the zone, never go astray. Too many doink the clowns is in the way. Got all my pieces in array. You bastards gon' learn today. It's all a fact, I'm all of that. You hating like Bobby, just call a match. Arrogance like Rick Martel, I'm back. JBL clothesline the track. Matter of fact, stay enhancing that. Matter of fact, stay out my space so you chancing that. Put you out when you can't come back. Send my homies at you, long beards like the Ample Cat.
WrestleMania! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleMania!
Go down to ringside. Ringside.
Welcome to WrestleMania! 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 Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleMania!
All right, it's that time once again, y'all. We're back at ringside right now. You know, I'm with the fellas as always. We got Clint and we got Curtis. Shout out to our other two members of Calvin and Nuxie. So, just to do a quick little recap from WrestleMania weekend, somebody had more correct predictions than everybody else with 11-2. Yeah. Go ahead, bring your funky little belt.
Wow.
You know, since you
my
won,
belt.
you know,
I mean,
your belt. I'm sure you got a
mention
championship.
it, you know.
And they
I
say
did
I'm
have
petty.
a plus belt. I mean, 11-2. I mean, who knew that Orton was going to win? But I'll take the 11-2. I'll take it. I got that Paul Heyman mind.
That's still the closest a Cowboy fans got to a championship in the past 30 years. But
stick to wrestling. Stick to wrestling. It's not a football podcast.
You're right. So speaking of WrestleMania, fellas, what did y'all think about the weekend overall? What stood out to y'all over the WrestleMania?
Let's see. I think we're all in agreement that night one sucked. Night one was. I mean, we said it was going to be the warm up tonight too, but good Lord, they could have saved that for Raw. I mean, I can count on one hand how many good moments I actually enjoyed out of night one. This made me glad that WrestleMania was 2 nights, and the lineup that they did, I'm glad the way they did it because night 2 really saved the weekend.
Absolutely. And in a nice little note to WWE, can we cut down on the ads, please? Okay. I understand advertisement dollars are important, but if you're giving us more ad time than match time, that's not cool, okay? I mean, you could have used a little, spared us a lot of those advertisements with backstage segments. I mean, I'm just saying.
Thank you, exactly.
I mean, guys, I
mean, we know why.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is outside of the first hour, which is on ESPN, I can understand that. But I mean, the first hour I understand ads. But once you actually get to the actual Netflix or in this case ESPN Plus, why?
And here's the thing: you weren't advertising for WWE. Normally we see little commercials. Hey, buy merchandise. Hey, order this next pay-per-view. Hey, we have a DVD coming out back in the day. But it was just regular commercials like we're watching TV. And I'm thinking, why are we getting commercials during WrestleMania?
Yeah, and think about this during the ladder match, JD McDonough, Dragon Lee, and Rusev didn't even get their moment to walk down to the WrestleMania.
Man.
Come on now.
You worked your whole life for that. I feel for them.
Yeah, I mean, at least they got a chance to shine during the match. I will say that. They got a chance to shine during the match. And boy, did they.
Because those bumps during that match right there, good Lord.
Goodness
That was some major like when the West Coast pop on Rusev to the outside
To that
ladder.
ladder, yeah.
Good Lord, that was a good one. And of course, he also took the awesome OG cutter
Yeah,
off the ladder.
that was awesome. Good
That
job,
was
Javon
nice.
and Rusev on that one. Great job, both
Definitely,
guys.
definitely.
Okay, let's address the elephant in the room here, if you will. Obafemi needed the win. He got the win. Yes, we all expected that. But what we didn't expect was Brock Lesnar calling it a career.
Man,
I'm
so
telling you, if
when
anybody said that they had that on their bingo card of things
not at
wrestling
all.
related, if you say you saw that coming, you're lying.
No
So
way.
when we last spoke, we said that WrestleMania this year, especially in night two in particular, was going to determine the future of WWE. This is going to kind of set the tone for where they're going to go for the next year, for the next 5 years, 10 years, what have you. And after we had that show, I thought, well, maybe we were over exaggerated. Maybe we overhyped it. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the next few years can't rest on one show, but I think we actually underspoke because, yeah, you got Lesnar retiring, you got Braun coming back, Oba, Trick. I mean, yeah, that was the future of the show. Oh, and another WrestleMania debut. I expect them to show up in NXT 20 years from now. Um,
Yeah.
Baby boy or girl, Belair.
Oh, mm.
The Crawfords, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Which,
definitely unexpected.
yeah, despite, my initial reaction, I'm very happy for them. Some congratulations to them both, even though I
No,
do
no,
hate that
I'll say it for you, Clint. Damn you, Montez Ford. Damn you.
another female star taken off the roster because, but I'm happy for him though.
Because his
Yeah.
pullout game was weak. Just go ahead and admit it. His pullout game was weak.
They don't pull out, they pull up. Just look at their picture on Instagram.
All I can say is Jay's husband, please be very careful.
Well, I think she already has her child, so I think
Good.
she's good on her end. So,
Anyone else on the roster
Naomi,
married? Lash, Trick and Lash.
They're still engaged.
yeah, they're still
But
engaged. They're not married yet, but I don't think Trick is like trying to do any kids right now, not during their runs that they got going
No.
on right now.
not yet, but there is a report that Obafemi is supposed to be the best man, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I heard that he was going to be part of the wedding party. So, yeah, that sounds about right. But speaking of Trick, Trick actually had a pretty decent match with Sammy and you. It wasn't quite the Austin Bret Hart heel face turn type deal, but you definitely got the sense that the crowd was
Yeah.
definitely behind Trick Williams during that match, and they were booing Sammy
It was
throughout the
kind of
match.
odd because Trick was playing the heel as he should, and Sammy was kind of on that borderline, but he was getting boos from the crowd. So it was almost like heel versus heel, even though the crowd was very much behind Trick. But he had the outside interference from Lil Yachty, so he didn't really go full face. So not quite the Austin Brett double turn situation, but we didn't really need that. We said Trick needs to stay heel for a while, and we
I'll
have the
tell you what was
title.
behind. I'll tell you what was behind Trick. That long tail on his mink coat. What was that? That thing was at least a
It
good
was long,
70
but I
yards
mean,
long.
it fits his character. I will say that.
But that's
Well,
longer than most wedding dresses.
hold on. I will say that train was definitely longer than the Over match and about a couple other matches on no, during the
I think the only
weekend.
thing longer than that train was the commercial breaks.
That's about right. Either that or, he forgot to, make sure the toilet paper wasn't stuck to the bottom of the shoe when he left out. But man, but I just think, I mean, Clint, you hit the nail on the head earlier. Night two actually felt like
Like a
a
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. Saturday night felt like Saturday Night Heat or Superstars, and the fact that the producers of some of the matches, like Michael Hayes produced the Cody Orton match, and it
Okay, so I
felt
want to
off.
talk about Michael Hayes right now. I want to ask him, what was the whole idea behind this whole Orton has a back injury all of a sudden that came out of nowhere, and now we have to be sympathetic to him because he's got the injury, but he's the heel. If anything, now this first of all, this injury came out of nowhere, but secondly, if anyone's going to have an injury where they have to come from underneath, it should be the babyface. It should be Cody. Cody is just kind of whooping Randy's ass for most of the match because he's got this injury. I mean, and Randy had a few comeback moments, and he got the punt and the title, the belt shot at the end. But I mean, none of it. The whole pace of the match was just slow. The psychology was off. Uh, the punt at the end just seemed unnecessary unless they're continuing with this angle, which I don't know. Something crazy in me says that WrestleMania should be the blow off, but what do I know? I'm just a fan. But
And, and
I don't know. The whole thing just felt off.
the psychology seemed more non-existent than anything. It like the pacing, you would think, okay, it's gonna pick up at some point, but
Yeah.
there were just too many moments in that match where you just look at it, it's like the match itself, ring work wise, wasn't necessarily bad, but the psychology just kind of threw it for a loop to the point where it's like, wait a minute, what's supposed to be happening here?
Yeah, the best thing about that match was them getting rid of Pat McAfee at the beginning. That was the smartest thing to do. Get
I
rid of
did
him
call the
at the
RKO
beginning.
on McAfee. I did call that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, you did call that. And that was smart. And then they have this match where it's kind of slow. You're expecting it to pick up, and it doesn't really pick up. And then Pat McAfee comes out again as the referee. Okay, you were carted off a few minutes ago. Now you're the referee. Whatever. And he comes in and he makes a regular count. If you want Randy to win, wouldn't you make a fast count?
I mean, it would make sense as a heel, but what do we know? We're just fans.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things where all three elements were off. The pacing of the match, the psychology of the match, and even the commentary made everything off about your main event for night one. Like, you can't be off. Like, I can understand, maybe pacing or psychology might be off, but your commentary was off as well. And it's hard. I mean, granted, Michael Cole usually didn't have bad commentary.
I mean, it's like they couldn't figure out what to make of either. They're watching the same match we're watching, trying to figure out, okay, how can we put this over? Because this is
So,
not a great match.
because I'm wondering who's in their ear the whole time to bring that up. Like, is that Triple H or was that Michael Hayes?
Whether someone
I would imagine it would have been Triple H, but I don't know.
as a commentator myself, whether someone's in your ear or not, it's hard to spin a bad match to make it seem interesting. You have to do so many things. You have to say certain things and just probably ignore other things. But at the end of the day, you're just insulting intelligence. But let's kind of move over to a main event that was actually worth watching. Let's talk about Roman Reigns and CM Punk.
Oh, now that was an epic. That was an epic
was a main
match.
event.
And then it was a clean match. No outside
Yeah.
interference. No, we expected run-ins. We expected the final boss to show up, the Usos to jump in, someone from TKO. No one interfered. But you know what? I didn't miss that. We kept thinking, okay, The Rock's going to show up. The Rock's going to show up. And he didn't. And we didn't miss it. It didn't make the match, it didn't let us down in any way. It was a great match. Great
Incredible
job,
match.
both of those guys. It told a story. Is everything night one main event wasn't. It told a story that made sense. The pacing was good. The action was good. I have no complaints about CM Punk and Roman. I don't think I can find anything bad to say about that match.
Now, I did find something strange. Now, we talked about this before we went on camera. The finish was kind of strange, but looking back, it makes sense. CM Punk is, of course, defiant as ever. He's still giving everything he's got, even though he's pretty much on E at this point. And Roman looks him in the eye with a smile, letting him know, hey, I still got something left. You're done. And then next thing you know, the final spear calls it game
Yeah,
over.
I think it came off a little awkward, but when you think about it, it's telling it's supposed to be a little awkward because if it's a real fight, it's not going to be polished looking. And yeah, keep in mind Punk, yeah, Punk pushed Roman to his limit, but Roman pushed Punk past his limit. Like we've been saying this whole time, like they've been building up and putting your head this whole time. Punk is an old man. Well, not an old man, but he's older. So he can't necessarily keep up with a young man like Roman like he wants to, even though his heart is in it, the body wasn't willing. So he just was broken down and I it was as if he could have gotten a last burst of energy, he could have won the match. But he couldn't, and Roman saw an opportunity, so he recovered and went with the spear. So yeah, it looks a little awkward, but to me, it fits in with the story. So I have no complaints about it.
The only thing that was awkward was Roman taking steel steps and hitting CM Punk while he was in a tree of woe. And the
Yeah,
last time I checked, there was a no there wasn't any no disqualification stipulation or anything of the
There
sort.
wasn't, but
Was it a no?
and I don't know if commentary brought it up, but they'll usually throw something in like, well, it's WrestleMania and the referee is going to be a little lenient because we want a clear winner. Kind of those situations. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen, you know, what should have been a disqualification in a title match in the main event of WrestleMania. But I mean, who wants the main event to end in a disqualification?
Nobody
I
wants
mean, take
that. I mean, this is, but it's one thing if it's like if it's like certain little things, but this was a clear cut kind of thing. But that didn't really ruin the match for me. But it is something that I'm pretty sure a lot of fans brought up.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's no different than say like you have someone on the outside and the ref clearly sees that person do something. What do? They kick him out as opposed
Yeah.
to call it disqualification. So I guess
It's
if you want to
referee's
put it on that
discretion. That's
level,
what it is. It's referee's discretion, and it's almost as if Roman is because Roman knows how to play the game. So it's like he's daring the referee. Like, what are you going to do? Disqualify me? It's the main event of WrestleMania. You're not going to disqualify me.
I mean,
So
and yeah,
goes ahead and he pushes that line. But that was it. I mean, it wasn't like they were using weapons the whole night. It was still steps. Referee got on him about it. Hey, don't do it again. I'm sure. It, it's suspension of disbelief. Build your own
right.
story on it. Again, I'm not going to complain about it.
I wouldn't either. But one thing that did kind of impress me a little bit was Jay's skill versus Rhea Ripley in the women's
Yes,
championship match. Her
Yeah,
skill set has actually gotten better than most people give her credit for.
I would say
absolutely,
that was the best Jay Cargill match I've ever seen. Out of her whole
absolutely.
career, that was
Without
her
a
best
doubt.
match.
I know she had it in her, and people have to realize during her time in AEW, I'm not sure how the training there goes. She probably may not have been trained, or probably wasn't even trained properly. But with WWE, you have a whole performance center. You're learning the ins and outs of things. You have actual rings. You have your little crash pads and everything. And you have actual teachers teaching you the ropes. Well, I don't know what AEW or any other company has, but that definitely makes a difference. Now,
I think they used the Nightmare Factory. I think it was
Yeah,
QT Marshall training her and maybe a little bit of Cody. And after that one winged angel, I'm thinking, maybe Kenny had something to do with her training also.
definitely.
That one winged angel, I saw it kind of as a shout out to Kenny. So
Yeah. I mean, she did. She also did have the semi awkward move of the night where she had Rhea in a pinning situation and looked like she did a little humping in that pinning situation. So, but I know other people caught it, but I'm just saying,
I mean, it's
it
Las
kind of looked like
Vegas. We are in Vegas, and I'm pretty sure some people probably would have made it rain, but they would have probably risked getting kicked out of the building. So who knows?
yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, you can't throw a stack of ones at the ring like that. That's usually not how that works. I don't care if Vegas or over here at the Pony. It's not gonna work like that.
I'll just say this: I got a new favorite WrestleMania moment up there with Trish and Mickey now.
So
Yeah, that does invoke some memories. Oh man. But what do y'all think about the street fight? Which we didn't know it was street fight until like literally what was the night before, or the day of.
it was actually the day of. It was actually hours during the. It was
Yeah, it was
during
like
the
2 hours
pre-show.
before.
Yeah, it was during the pre-show. It was actually announced, but to me, it really didn't affect anything. But it was still a fun match to watch. And definitely good to see the demon again. Although the streamers would have been were definitely overkill, but again, good to see the demon again. And Really interesting entrance from Dominic. So overall, that was just a fun match to watch.
Well, me
The top,
personally, you said
go ahead.
it didn't affect the match for you. It did affect it for me, but it made it better for me because I think for one thing, Pierre called it was going to be a no contest, so I'm not going to hold that against him as far as predictions. Um, but we also kind of predicted there may be a sort of a squash where he was just going to go in and annihilate Dom. So with it being a street fight and he can bring weapons into it, that gave Dom more of a fighting chance. It added a sense of desperation to the match for Dom because he's desperate. He already kind of has that look in his face like he's afraid of the demon. You know, at the beginning of the match, he was hiding behind the commentary table. So he's already afraid of the demon. He doesn't want to be in the ring with him. So now he's kind of desperate. He's using the tables and the chairs. He's using kendo sticks, anything he can come up with. So it added to the match for me. So, I think it was the right move. I just wish that they advertised it sooner as a street fight rather than wait to the last minute. I don't know if it was a last minute change or if they planned on it all along and decided to announce it at the last minute, which I don't know what sense that would make. If you're going to have a street fight at WrestleMania, announce that you have a street fight at WrestleMania. At the very least, announce it on SmackDown. I don't know what made them change at the last minute or announce at the last minute, but it made the match better for me.
I think they were trying to go with okay, you had the unsanctioned match night one. So we need something close to that night two. So that way we can at least bring out tables because we know we can save the crowd with the table spot.
Yeah. Plus, I guess you don't want that criticism ahead of time. Like, man, they're having an unsanctioned match and a street fight. That's overkill. You don't. I guess people on the internet are always going to find something to complain about. So they could have complained about that and made a big deal. Whereas if you announce at the last minute, then they're just like, "Oh, it's a street fight now. Cool, okay."
And they would complain about a half dozen mini Danhauses if they wanted to.
Now, I like the whole Dan Houser thing. I get where they're trying to go with it and trying to be funny with it, but even that was a little too corny for me.
Yeah, okay, first of all, can we stop with the whole announcing the attendance thing? Because that was something I think we discussed while we were watching. It's like, okay,
there's no point announcing it when your attendance has dropped 20,000 from the previous year.
And not only that, but I've heard even other commentators mention, okay, more than likely they bought tickets for night one and night two, so it's the same people.
Yeah, and don't say your attendance was 106,000. Say ticket, you can say ticket sold because someone bought two tickets, one for night one, one for night two. Two different people didn't show up for night one and night two. You don't have 50,000 on one night and then a different 50,000 on the second night, so you have total 106. No, don't count me twice. I bought two tickets, so say tickets sold. But you don't really have to announce it unless you break records because that's the way they used to do it. If it was an attendance record for that particular arena or for the WWE in general, then they would announce it. You don't have to announce it every year, especially again when your attendance has dropped.
It's not really necessary, but hey, what are you gonna do?
When in previous years you've had 70,000, 80,000. I think didn't they have close to 90 or around 90,000 in one of the Dallas WrestleManias? And then 50, that's not even worth making an announcement for.
Right. Yeah, I know. I think it was in 2015 or 16 when I went to Dallas. They like 101 or something like that. It was like some crazy number. It was like
and that was one night, so that was close to legitimate. Then
one night. It was one Sunday night.
So you mean to tell me that it took two nights to sell as many tickets as it did for that one night that year? But the ticket prices weren't astronomical.
That is true. I did not have to give up a kidney and a firstborn for those tickets.
But, even for a decent, kind of high but not too high seat, you're looking at what 200-300 maybe four if you want to push it, and that I don't even think that would have got you in the door this year.
Not even close.
Yeah. And one other thing that I wish they would stop doing. I mean, I know we've had a couple of outliers, but let's start with the celebrity involved matches. I, don't get me wrong, the 6-man tag was cool, but unless you're going to pull a Logan Paul or even to a further extent a Bad Bunny where you are going to excel at the match, why have them involved? I understand it's supposed to be bringing eyes, but it's unnecessary at this point.
I mean, I guess that's really kind of the point to bring eyes. WWE has always been desperate for that mainstream attention. I don't have a problem with it. Just don't do it every year. Every WrestleMania doesn't have they had to have a celebrity. If you're going to have a celebrity interviewer, have a celebrity guest commentator, have a celebrity guest announcer. A celebrity doesn't have to wrestle at every WrestleMania because the idea is that not everyone can do this. If everyone is doing it, any old celebrity off the street can do it, then anyone can do it. The idea is that only certain people in the world can do it, and that WWE superstars are superhuman because they can take a pile driver through a table, and then the next week they're out, walking as if nothing happened.
Yeah, certain people can do. Yeah, I mean, we know Bad Bunny can do a whole lot of moves, but poor little guy, he doesn't even know how to sell.
I mean, with Bad Bunny, you didn't get the impression that he was on par with the other super. And to be fair, I Show Speed didn't either. You didn't get the impression that I'm on the same level as the Usos or LA Knight. Bad Bunny wasn't a wrestler. He was a guy off the street who knew how to use weapons, and that's why we had that a pretty decent street fight with Damian Priest. He wasn't in there doing wrestling moves like he had been doing. He came in and fought like he's a guy who knows how to use weapons and a guy who knows the moves he saw on TV. And I Show Speed, they were kind of hyping him up as this little skinny kid who didn't want to be in that situation and was scared. And I would have kept that up in that match, but instead the psychology was he thought he was really going to go in there and fight someone. But just last week, you didn't want to be in this match. You didn't want to be in this match in the beginning, but now what? You think you're going to actually go in there and fight someone? I mean, I guess
Well, I can see why you do that though, because how many times have we getting hyped up by our boys to do something,
well, yeah.
and then we would end up failing. It was like, I told you shouldn't have done it. Like, no, you was having me up to do it. So that's what I feel like what Logan was trying to do with I Show Speed.
I
And
would have
that's
given him less offense. I would have had him try to throw a punch or something, and the guy just kind of look at him like, "What was
Well,
that?"
it happened a couple of times when he hit LA Knight, and I think it was Jimmy. He kind of looked at him a couple of times like, yeah, this ain't, yeah, that didn't hurt.
I mean, it's almost like you using a move that doesn't do much damage in a Pokemon game. It wasn't very effective.
Yeah, the only real offense, effective offense, at least I would have given him was the splash at the end to Logan Paul. Other than that, he would just kind of been a crash test dummy if I had booked it.
Well, but at least that was a way to get him off now.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to worry about seeing him going forward, really. Like that was a good send off, and you kind of he's able to get over with the crowd with the move at the end, which is a little impressive athletic feat, but still, like okay, you got this move in. Now we can go ahead and push you back to the YouTube to your 10 million or however many followers you got.
The one on the plus side, the one plus out of this whole I Show Speed thing was a hilarious promo that Logan Paul cut on Raw where he was saying he was tired of the YouTubers and streamers coming to the WWE. He is like,
What?
Good
uh,
Lord, what, like really?
okay. I mean,
That was,
it was hilarious to me. Like, dude, did you forget you're a YouTuber? Okay, whatever.
but at least he has switched to do this full time as opposed to the part time.
Yeah,
I give him that credit. As much as I don't like him, I give him credit for that.
yeah. I don't like Logan Paul as a person, but I respect him for taking it seriously, for taking the business seriously, and putting full effort into it, being full time. And he is athletic. He does put on good matches. I can't complain about him as a wrestler, despite how I feel about him as a person.
And
Right.
he knows
He's
how to draw
annoying,
heat.
and the whole YouTube thing and some of the things he's done in the past, I'm not, you know, really a fan of, but I'm satisfied with his in-ring work. As a wrestler, sure, yeah.
And he knows how to draw heat with the crowd. So there's that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Handful of Tights Kayfabe Apparel. Fun original wrestling designs you won't find anywhere else. Made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans. Visit us at TeePublic and Redbubble or enter one word Handful of Tights into a Google search. Remember, the best way to win is with a handful of tights.
All right, so I know we really didn't touch on that a lot, but we also had the unsanctioned match between Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu, and I mean the level of violence you're expecting that type of match. That's exactly what you got out of that match, and I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I think it was just right, man. It wasn't overly hardcore, WWE's version of hardcore, where it's just constant weapons. There was a good amount of fighting in it too. I think the match lined up with the angle. That match was actually one of the highlights. Like I said, I can count on one hand how many highlights I had personally for night one, but that match was one of the highlights for me.
Definitely one of the best parts of day one. And I don't know what it is about street fights and Drew McIntyre doing selfies, which is hilarious, but
Happy WrestleMania Olympics.
it just seems
Well,
like
it's part of his character. Drew McIntyre is a troll. He is going to find some way to get that extra dig in. It's a nice part of his heel character. Especially when he's like in a personal feud, he's gonna find some way to make it personal, or find some way to insult you, or mock you, or get that extra little dig in. So I enjoyed that.
that's where those are the pettiest things since Austin Aries once posted a tweet in the middle of a match, but we're not gonna go there. But it's a fun. I've always liked this heel work. It was a fun match. They didn't try to do too much with weapons, like you said. It was just simply fighting, and they accomplished everything that you'd hope they would. And of course we'll talk about this later, but where Jacob goes now, I'm invested now.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. My favorite thing about the match is that it didn't make either guy look weak, because
Right.
they both look pretty tough. Drew has to look tough even if he's going to lose. Jacob has to look tough. The fact that he kicked out of that first moonsault is what got my attention. But it was a good match. Little things like when he picked the wrench and he kind of twisted it over and used the sharp end of the wrench, things like that. But the match made both men look good. Even though Jacob walked out with the win, but I don't see it really bearing either guy, so to speak. So I'm happy with that. Drew can move on to his next feud, and Jacob can move on to what's next, which we're going to definitely talk about that, because I have some kind of predictions on where we may go with that I may be wrong on, but
Yeah,
I've been doing
for
pretty good
sure.
so far. So
Yeah.
We get
Yeah,
it. We
you did
get
wrong.
it.
Yeah, petty. I mean, and the other good match the other night was definitely that Gunther Seth match. I mean,
yes,
two
Yes.
consummate ring professionals who can go at any time in a match. You gotta love their work that they do.
I would definitely say that was the night one match of the night for me. Um, Again, it wasn't overly booked. It had the right amount of pacing. Hell, even the entrances, even Seth, I love the entrances from top to bottom. I love that match. It made both men look tough. Seth looked like someone who is a ring general, no pun intended, who can stand up to anyone in WWE, even if it is Gunther. And Gunther still looked tough. It didn't make him look any weaker, and it made Seth look better without burying either guy. And then we got to see the return of Braun, so it gave a plausible reason for Seth losing without burying him, without making him look too bad. So I think it was perfect booking. The one complaint, and I think we kind of mentioned it when it happened, and I don't think it was his fault because he really didn't have any control of it, was that second spear didn't look like it connected
Yeah,
the way Braun Spears usually do. Usually he's got those hard hitting, realistic looking spears, and this one was. It kind of reminded me of one of Moose's spears, and that's no disrespect to Moose, but it wasn't Braun's typical spear. But he was getting too much speed going down that long ramp. Pierre mentioned, he was kind of holding his head up, trying to keep from falling over. So I think that affected his spirit. But aside from that, that was an A+ match for me.
Yeah, Seth Rollins never, as far as matches at WrestleMania or his entrances, never disappoint. Now, as far as that spear you're talking about, I think he may have been he realized that he was probably going to be off on it and probably just overcompensated to try to protect Seth
Yeah,
because a lot of times sometimes when it comes to WWE, they tend to overcompensate or complicate moves to be extra safe. So but it's better to be too safe than to to injure somebody. So
exactly.
I'm okay with that. So I'm okay with that. But well, like you said,
Yeah, it's something we can overlook. It's like, okay, it happens. So, again, it wasn't his fault. He did the best he could with it. It was a long ramp. It's a long slope down, and he had a lot of speed and a lot of power behind it, and too much would have hurt one or both of them. So he did what he had to
Yeah,
do. So
I
yeah,
mean,
the angle of the ramp definitely wouldn't have helped matters either. But like I said in our predictions, Gunther and Seth are those kind of workers you could put together. You don't really need a storyline. You could put a storyline about shampoo and they'll put on a banger of a match.
Well, yeah. So the storyline leading up to, like I said, it was thrown together. But a year from now, 5 years from now, when you're going back and looking at all WrestleMania matches, go, I want to see Seth Gunther again. Are you really going to remember the build up, or are you just going to just watch the match? You're going to watch the match and say, yeah, that was a damn good match. What was the build up? Oh, something crazy. I don't know, but damn, that was a good match.
but you never know with these video packages that they do, though. They'll bring up some stupid stuff.
Now
Like now,
that was
granted,
something also, and even I think you mentioned also appeared they could have had video packs. I mean, yes, I know you're watching WrestleMania. If you're watching WrestleMania, you kind of already know what's going on, but you may also want to try to bring in a new crowd or someone who hasn't watched wrestling in a while. You may want to bring up to speed. Hey, why are these guys fighting? Usually, when we get those video packages, and that could have taken up some of that commercial time. Show a video pack. How hard is it to show? A what 1 minute, 2 minute package of why these guys are fighting.
Oh,
You
they
you
did the
you got a state-of-the-art production team. Use them.
oh they did the same thing. Yeah, they used to do it with Peacock, depending on your plan. Basically saying, hey, if you have Peacock Premium, you're gonna watch a vignette. Otherwise,
But before
we'll
the
be right.
days of Peacock and Netflix and ESPN, before they had all these services, when it was just either pay-per-view or the WWE Network, they would put it in there.
And all
Before they started overcomplicating things.
I mean, that's how you really sold it. I mean, that was a buildup. That's just like in boxing. Even in boxing, they always do a a video buildup of what took place up until the day of the match. And they used
Exactly.
to do that in WWE so much. And it's mm,
And
like,
NXT
okay,
used to be great
guys are
with it
tapped
because
in.
NXT was good, really good with it because I didn't always get a chance to watch NXT sometimes, but back in the days when, we had Gargano and Ciampa and Joe, all, when NXT was really, really hot, if I didn't get a chance to watch the past few weeks, I could watch that video package, get caught up. Okay, this is why they're fighting. Okay, now I'm ready because the matches were going to be bangers either way. I just needed that little backstory. Okay, yeah, and they gave it to me. I'm caught up. I'm ready to go. You
Right.
know, and a lot of these matches didn't really have intense backstories like with the women's title match, the tag match. Just kind of show, okay, these are the four teams who are fighting over the titles, and this is what they've been doing the past few weeks, and here we are now.
But we did have a special caveat with the women's tag, though. Because, we did
True,
have somebody come back.
but that could have been also part of a video package where you have an interview from Nikki saying or show footage of her going through her rehab, show how
Actually,
she
they
got
did
injured.
do a thing where she was at the pre-show about her foot.
Yeah.
They did show that, but I
Okay.
think that was like that may have been before the match started. I can't. I mean, like before the show started. I can't remember
Yeah, I'm
what
talking
it
about
was, but
something before during the show, like right before the match starts.
I got you. I got
You
you. Yeah.
highlight the teams and then you show like 30 seconds of, how Nikki got hurt and showing her rehabbing. And then she comes out and make her announcement, and it makes more sense because if I haven't watched wrestling, let's say I haven't watched wrestling since WrestleMania 41. And I decided, hey, I'm going to check out WrestleMania and see what's going on. And she comes out, and I mean, she did kind of explain, yeah, I've been trying to, be ready and I couldn't. But a video package ahead of that would have really sold it. Like, yeah, she really has been trying. There's some sympathy on her then.
You can't always assume that all your fans are watching the product the whole time because life happens.
That's
Exactly.
true.
You can't assume everyone remembers also because the other things on TV, you got real life going on. I don't even want to count how many of hours of WWE television there are on a regular week. And I don't know anyone personally who watches every minute of every
Yeah.
hour of WWE when you've got Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Evolve, um,
LFG.
yeah, LFG. Does main event still come on?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I think it
Man,
does. Yeah.
yeah, and Triple A. I mean, it's a lot on top of other wrestling. No one watches every minute. You're gonna miss something, and a recap will show. Hey, I missed that episode. I didn't see that part. Okay,
But hey, quick shout out though to the Unmovable Forces with Lash and Nia giving respect to Demolition with the white Demolition
yeah,
fits
that
on.
was
Oh,
cool.
That
yes.
was nice.
And
I
even
love that.
Demolition tweeted out, thanking them for and giving them a shout out, saying they loved it. So, I love seeing when current wrestlers have that little some kind of nod to a legend like that. Also, while you're on the point of that, Alexa's outfit with that shout out to Bray. I love that
Yeah,
also.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
love
they're
the
still
shit.
Unmovable
Yeah,
Forces. My bad. I gave the wrong
yeah,
name, but
yeah,
go
Yeah.
ahead, Curtis.
yeah. Love the shout out to Demolition. On top of looking like absolute meals, but we already knew that.
Well, we definitely see why Trick Williams is a lucky man. Definitely with that outfit, it definitely complimented her.
Yeah,
Lash Legend for sure. And Lash didn't do too bad in the match either. I think Lash kind of, she's still getting some work to get up to Jay's level as far as to command the ring, so to speak. But her work was still pretty good for that type of match.
she's
Yeah, I've never really seen any issue with Lash's work. Is she at championship level? No, I mean everyone has to work their way up, but she's really good for where she is. Maybe a
Right.
little more time with the tag team scene. I know I say yeah, I'm ready for her to be a single star, but a little more time with the tag team scene wouldn't hurt, and then push her. I would say by the end of this year, she's going to be singles.
just needs more time. She hasn't had a whole lot of matches, but the sample size that we do have has been impressive. So just kind of continue to build it, and you're
Now,
gonna have
yeah, that,
some.
that forearm finisher she has, that thing looks
Mm.
rough.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
Well, Trick
It's like
says that
they
she
couldn't
wish
come
he
up with
could have been a bet linebacker because she
yeah,
hits
it's
that
like they
hard.
couldn't come up with a finisher, so just knock the hell out of them.
That works. I mean, and even though we're talking about the women, I really don't want to feel like we're brushing over the Intercontinental Belt Championship and the Women's World Title. But I think in our prediction show, we kind of predicted everything that was going to happen. And it pretty much did happen for the most part in those two matches. I mean, it
Yeah.
was pretty much status
And,
quo
and
with that.
something
So
else I
it's
want to
not
point out
really,
too with both the ladder match and with the women's tag, everyone got their moment to shine. So whoever produced those
definitely,
matches did a
definitely.
great job. Everyone, even Nikki being outside, she got to help out. I think she was fighting Charlotte. She got to attack Charlotte with the crusher, so she got her moment. Everyone got to shine in that women's tag match. Everyone got to shine in that ladder match. So great job. Those two matches, great job.
And one thing that I really that I noticed in Becky and AJ's match was the finish. Very innovative heel work from Becky. I've been a fan of her recent heel work as of late, but that was just even though the match could have been better, but but that heel work was simply magical. I loved it.
I mean, it's Becky being Becky. She to
Yeah.
know she knows her craft and she knows how to do. I mean, getting the ref involved and with the corner pad and things of that nature, and still pulling off, being able to pull off the move, which is a classic heel move. But she did. I mean, we don't normally see women pull off the classic male quote unquote
Yeah.
move, and she does it effortlessly. So you gotta give her
Yeah,
props
and
to that.
I got no complaints about the match because she was in there with AJ, and again, AJ is a great wrestler, but she hasn't had a lot of singles. I mean, she's really on kind of this comeback thing, so she's not going to be necessarily on the level that Becky is right now. So you can't expect her to go in here and put on a Ricky Steamboat performance necessarily. But I think she held her own, and it was overall a good match. It wasn't the best women's match in the world, but it was far, far from the worst. Um, the one complaint I had, and I think we mentioned also, just a little nitpick in there was with the referee. I love how they're building up kind of this feud with the referee, and the referee shoved her back, kind of like her Earl Hebner thing. I would have had her hesitate on that pinfall. When she counted that last pin, I would have kind of had her kind of look at her like, I hate you, and then count that three. Like I really don't want to do this, but I got a job to do.
Yeah, that dramatic was kind of missing. It made the finish of the match feel flat,
Yeah,
even though the match as a whole was not flat.
yeah.
So, I mean, basically now that everything's wrapped up, where do y'all see things going now, especially after watching Raw last night? Because I mean, it wasn't the greatest Raw, it wasn't the worst Raw, but I see how things maybe can play out, but maybe y'all gotta see something different.
I
So,
saw,
well, go
as
ahead,
far
Curtis.
as, all right, as far as Roman and Jacob, oh my goodness, I loved the promo. I loved it.
Now
I
that was a
mean,
shock. That was a shock for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting
that
Jacob
was
to
a
put
shocker.
himself in the picture that soon.
now, what made the promo really interesting, you have some heels who will say, give me a week to determine if I want to accept your challenge. Roland got to the point where it's like, he's so cocky, he's letting you know, hey, you don't want this smoke. You're not ready for this. And I'm gonna show you that you're not ready for this. I'm gonna actually give you a week to think about it, and I'll guarantee you that you'll realize you're not ready for this.
I think it was more trying to attack his confidence because we know Jacob's the most confident person of that bloodline that's up there, or at least with Roman as far as the confident level of being able to perform. So I think it was kind of more or less. I'm going to make you doubt your confidence by making you wait a week before I decide to tell you we're going to have this match or not.
Okay, so I got a completely different suspicion here.
All right.
I think it's a psychological game to wear Jacob down to acknowledging him. So here's how I think it's going to go down. He's asking Jacob, is this something you really want to do? Do you really want to be in this spotlight? Are you ready for the spotlight? Because I think that Roman sees potential in Jacob, just like he saw potential in Jay. He, called Jay main event. He was prepping Jay to be the next tribal chief. I think he sees the potential in Jacob, but he doesn't feel Jacob is ready yet. He feels Jacob needs something extra to get him to that next level. So two goals. I want Jacob to get to that next level, and I want to unite my family and make us a powerhouse like we used to be. So here's what I think is going to happen. Jacob's going to come back next week and says, "Yes, I do want to fight you," and Roman's going to accept. And they're going to go out and they're going to have a banger of a match. And Jacob's going to come maybe that close to getting it, but not quite. And he's going to be feeling disappointed at the end. And Roman is going to step up. He's going to stand up and walk towards him. And he's going to hold his hand out. He's going to hold his hand out. Jacob's going to take it. He's going to lift him up. And Jacob is going to acknowledge him. And I believe that Jacob is going to be the enforcer for the new bloodline. It's going to be Roman, the Usos, and Jacob. Now, I think this is going to be like a new type of bloodline. It's not going to be before where Roman is kind of bossing them around and they're all just kind of following what he says. I think there's going to be a lot more individuality with this one, but I really see Jacob being an enforcer for the bloodline and them being WWE using that to push him further. Now, something I also see, and this is going out much, much further because this plays into the MFT storyline. We see they're building up to a mutiny in the MFT, And what the storyline I'm seeing here is when Solo gets ready to kick Tama Tonga out, he's going to assume that the rest of the group is going to side with him. But they're not, because you got to keep in mind three of those guys are brothers. And Solo is willing to fight his brothers, obviously, but they may not be necessarily willing to fight their brothers. So when he goes to kick Tama out, they're all going to turn on him instead. So they're going to kick Solo out of the MFT. So we fast forward to War Games, and I think Solo is going to come back begging to his family for help, and we're going to get the Tongans versus Samoans at some point.
That's interesting. I mean, what you think, Curtis?
I mean, I wouldn't look past that. That would be really interesting. Now, whether that'll actually happen, well, we'll have to stay tuned for that. Now, I also want to talk about Cody versus CM Punk. Now, at first, this seemed like your typical CM Punk realizing, okay, the better man won and all this other stuff. Then Cody comes out. At first, I was like perplexed, like, okay, why is he out? Because first off, you have this eye injury, the broken orbital bone, and all that stuff. Why are you even out
Which
here?
I want to interrupt you right here, real quick. When Cody came out, I thought he was going to announce that he was not medically cleared. Didn't know when he was coming back. Was going to drop the belt.
Yeah,
That was my first thought.
I
I
was
thought he was going to come out to drop the belt,
I
which I
thought
was wrong. Continue. Go ahead.
yeah, I thought that he was gonna probably drop it too. Then next thing you know, he kind of repeats some of the stuff that CM Punk says, talking about you never know when a world championship opportunity is just gonna fall out of the sky. And then next thing you know, Cody's like, just say when. Okay, so I was interested. Don't get it twisted. I'm interested in Cody versus CM Punk. So I'm thinking, okay, they've been in Ring of Honor together. Did they fight together? So I did a little research.
No, they haven't.
Okay,
When by the time Cody was with Ring of Honor, Punk had long been gone because Punk was at WWE. Well, actually, I think Punk may have already left
But
WWE.
you're right about that. But
But
either
yeah, yeah, I remember Cody joined Ring of Honor when he was with Bullet Club.
okay, okay. So they weren't in they have Ring of Honor
They
time,
both
but
got the
not
background,
necessarily
yeah.
to get. They got the background, but they were in AEW. But outside of WWE, they never fought. So I'm like, okay, they got to have had some time against each other. They've only had two matches in WWE. First was back all the way to September 22nd, 2008, on an episode of Raw. And there was
Mm.
another match. I didn't find the date for that,
And
but
then what was that? That
it,
was rookie year Cody or something?
this is pre-Legacy Cody.
Okay, so he's still teaming up with what, Bob Holly?
No, he's teaming with DiBiase.
Oh, okay.
He's teaming with Ted Jr. He's one half of the tag champs at the time.
Gotcha. Okay.
But apparently that it was like 1-1 in that one. But I'm surprised they hadn't had more time against each other. But I'm definitely invested now.
I mean, if you really want to look at how certain things are, it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like there's a company-wide passing of the torch moments with different types of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Whereas Cody, maybe not necessarily doing it like Punk did it, but kind of more of the I'm going to say what I feel type situation and have these followers. And of course, we've seen Over and Brock and things of this nature. So I'm wondering, are we starting to see the company be like, okay, our PG slash COVID era wrestlers now are starting to fade, and so now we're going to move to this new generation of wrestlers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of sense I'm getting with basically you're seeing some of these matchups. So like we're setting up the future now. If you're looking at these matchups, they're the mirror of moving on, like going from this person to the next person.
Yeah, and even with how the Punk match ended, it kind of had told that story of um Punk maybe getting too old. Punk maybe can't keep up with these guys anymore. I mean, it didn't outright say it, but it's real subtle. I think we're going to get a similar result with Punk and Cody. I think they're going to fight at some point, and Cody's going to go over, and Punk's going to start to doubt himself, and we're going to start to see him kind of winding down. Because I mean, there really isn't much left for Punk to accomplish. Maybe he came back to WWE thinking that he still had things he wanted to do to accomplish, and he's done them. He's main evented WrestleMania. He's had another title run. There's nothing left for him to accomplish.
Just basically side quests from here. And
Pretty much.
also, you had the call ups of Sol Ruka, who had a really good match with Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
Then Ethan Page had a banger with Javon Evans.
Which Ethan Page is going to be the next Intercontinental Champion. If there's anyone who's going to take the belt off Penta, it's going to be Ethan Page.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. And
I can see
also,
that.
and one thing that really got me was Obafemi's opening promo. Didn't have to say much, but it's kind of like what Roman did after he beat The Undertaker. He only had to say just a few words,
But
and,
you know
and
why?
then the mic
Because when they
drop.
do that, whenever they do that, they're introducing to the audience a new era. When
Yeah.
Roman beat Punk, when Roman beat Taker and came out and said that, he was introducing saying, "This is my era now," and they're introducing us to a new era where it's Oba and it's all those guys we mentioned on the last show, Trick and Javon, and now Sol Ruka and Ethan Page. You know, we're going up to a new era. Ethan Page, like I just said, he's going to beat Penta, and Penta's going to move up to world title contention, and we're going to see a world title run out of him soon. Jacob Fatu is stepping up, and we don't know how they're going to get him there, but we know they're going to get him there. Oba, Trick, yeah, the future is going to start moving up, and then a lot of these older guys are going to start passing the torch and just start putting guys over.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because I mean, with 4 words, Oba still had the crowd in his hands.
Yeah,
Basically, let you know at this point we got to push him to the moon because all he said was 4 words,
and the crowd ate
but
it up, those 4 words.
completely ate it up. But at this point, it's going to be interesting to see because I do see, your point about Ethan Page winning the IC title, but I think as a carrier to if Javon steps up his promo game just a little bit more, I could see him being the one taking the IC title
I
to
see
another level.
I see him taking it from Ethan.
That's what I'm saying. Like Ethan
Yeah.
would be more the transitional. I hate to use that term transitional, but it seems
Well,
like he would be
I
more
wanted to
the
say kind of transition. I think Ethan's going to hold it for a while. We may see Javon take it at SummerSlam. We got what
I mean,
Backlash coming up. I
yeah.
can see Ethan winning it at Backlash and holding it till SummerSlam, and then building that up. Rusev getting involved in the mix because he, kind of threw his hat,
I
his
think it's
name
gonna be
in
a
that.
4-way. I believe it's gonna be a 4-way.
Yeah, and at some point we're going to get to Javon winning it.
Yeah. Um. Now, there is one interesting return that did happen last night, and I was excited for because everybody's been asking where they've been at. Street Profits showed up.
Yeah, and when they
Now,
came out,
Montez got started now.
I said, really? And Mike Cole said the same thing. He said, really? But I mean, I'm happy to see him. It was just a shock. Like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Now, I was concerned about Montez. There was the picture of him on Instagram. He had a little bit of a gut,
Yeah,
just
he
showing
got rid of
signs
that.
of. Oh, he did, definitely did, and of course, Angelo Dawkins, to borrow a term from Pat McAfee, was just looking shocked.
Which, for me personally, knowing now what we know about Bianca, I can see why Tez would gain weight because when when my wife was pregnant, I gained about 15 pounds with each kid. Maybe it was sympathy
Gotcha.
weight. I don't know, but I gained weight like she did. So if she was pregnant and he put on a little weight, I can get that. But I mean, he's gotten rid of it and they look ready to go.
Yeah. I'm
We can
excited
definitely
about
tell
how.
because we can definitely tell because whatever weight she lost, you found it.
Hey, I
You
wasn't
got a
gonna
chair
say
shot
nothing,
coming
Ken.
your
I
way.
wasn't gonna say.
You got still share shot coming your way. You're not going to see it coming.
I mean, hey, you better hope he don't catch you like Braun called it from Seth last night, though. I mean, I thought the Attitude Era was over where people was catching blood from chair shots.
Well, this is the Triple H era, so Triple H,
Well,
done
is
play.
it? I mean, based on the reports from Mark Shapiro, well, Mark Shapiro, one of the heads of TKO, he said, "No, we're running creative right now." and we're trying to get more celebrities involved. So we can and we
Oh, good
anticipate
Lord.
losing some
This
fans
is what
based off
killed
this.
WCW.
Oh my gosh,
People who don't know
what?
about wrestling trying to get involved with the wrestling. That's what killed WCW. As soon as they started making money, as soon as they started getting popular, then Time Warner wanted to get involved. And their solution to everything was throw more NWO at it.
But you got people like Roman endorsing. That's the sad part. Like he's endorsing whatever TKO wants to do. Roman says basically said, "Cool." I mean, you saw the post conference, post WrestleMania conference
Well, I
when that
mean, but
crowd.
like we said, look who his cousin is, and look what position he has. So
Yeah, that's true.
that's about the
Family's
worst
tough.
thing they can do right now. Triple H needs to be the guy in charge. He's been, I mean, this whole era that we've seen from the bloodline going forward. And yeah, there have been some low points and there have been a lot of high points, but I would still back Triple H over anyone else. Me
Absolutely.
personally.
Absolutely, because let's look. I mean, if you look at a lot of the things Triple H has done, and some of the things that has happened with Triple H at the helm, Vince would have never accepted half of it. I mean, how many people want? How much do you want to bet that he would have had a partnership with TNA?
Never.
Never, never. So I mean, you got a good point
I
there,
don't even,
Curtis.
in fact, I don't even think Vince would have bought Triple A.
Oh
Nah, he would definitely wouldn't have.
no,
He would have
no.
poached their wrestlers, but he definitely wouldn't have signed. He wouldn't have bought. He wouldn't have
Exactly.
partnered with them whatsoever.
Me personally, even the most stale storylines we've seen in a couple of years are better than what we were seeing in Vince in the last few years, that he was there.
Yeah. Well, this has been another night of discussing what we think about WWE so far. I wrapped up for WrestleMania and night after Raw. So give us your thoughts. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? What are your opinions? Be sure to like and subscribe, join the channel. Of course, give your opponents back to the crew. You can make fun of Clint and his little belt, you think he because he
Don't hate.
made
I
right
mean,
predictions and whatnot.
we all can't have a great wrestling mind to, come up with great booking and great predictions.
One good,
You can thank
one,
me at War Games when it's the Tongans versus the Samoans. You can thank me then.
one good weekend. He's in over his head.
Yeah, that's like the Cowboys winning in preseason. He's always over his head. But we'll see what happens next week after SmackDown, and maybe Monday Night Raw, just to kind of see maybe we get a clear direction where things are going. But time will tell as always. There's that long-term story booking and short-term story booking. So we'll see what happens. So, hey, just let us know what y'all think. We'll holler at y'all next time from Ringside right now. Deuces.
Hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop.